Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever been just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and suddenly you just feel off? You're not sad, you're not angry, you just feel kind of empty. Well, this explainer is designed exactly for that moment. We're going to explore how you can literally execute a complete system reset in just 15 seconds. So, when that weird, empty feeling hits, what do we usually do? We grab our phones, right? But scrolling doesn't help. We put on our favorite music. Doesn't help either. We might even try watching some hyper-motivational stuff. And still, nothing changes. You just sit there asking yourself, why can't I just feel happy for no reason? Well, here's what I found absolutely fascinating in the science we're looking at today. You actually can flip a switch in your brain to a happier state in 15 seconds. No way, right? But it's true. You don't need to fix your entire life, you don't need forced positive thinking, and you definitely don't need to force motivation. Today, we're going to walk through 3 simple brain switches that instantly lift your mood. And the best part? These aren't some long-term habits you need to build over months. They are biological levers you can pull right now. But hey, definitely keep an eye out for the third trick on our list. It is, for sure, the ultimate game changer, because it fundamentally alters how your brain reacts to stress forever.
To set the stage here, let's think about a quick story that brilliantly illustrates this. Imagine 2 people. Let's call them person A and person B. They both experience the exact same, completely awful day. They sit in the same miserable traffic, deal with the exact same stress, face the exact same problems. But look at the difference. Person A feels absolutely miserable all night long, while person B just shakes it off and feels totally okay. So what gives? The difference isn't their life circumstances. The difference is entirely in how their brains reacted in those first few critical seconds. See, your brain actually isn't designed to make you happy. It's designed to react fast. Once you understand that reaction, you can interrupt it.
All right, let's jump straight into the first of our 3 interruptions. Trick 1, the body feedback switch. Here's something the research highlights that most of us completely misunderstand about human biology. Your brain doesn't just spontaneously create emotions in a vacuum. It's actually constantly listening to your body, especially your face, to decide how it should feel. So let's put this into practice right now. I know it might feel a little silly wherever you're sitting, but go ahead and gently raise your eyebrows, just a tiny bit. Now intentionally relax your jaw. And finally, let the corners of your mouth lift just a little. We aren't going for a big, forced, cheesy grin here, just a soft, gentle smile. Go ahead and hold those physical facial cues for 15 seconds. Okay, so what's happening chemically while you hold that expression? Your brain is receiving a direct physical signal from your facial muscles. And the brain's translation of that signal is literally, oh, we must be safe. When your brain believes you're safe, it instantly reduces the stress chemicals pumping through your system and boosts the feel-good ones. It's a real chemical shift. You didn't force happiness, you simply signaled it. This works even if your mood was terrible just 10 seconds ago, because your brain reacts to physical cues way faster than it reacts to thoughts.
And this brings us to a massive mistake most people make. They sit around and wait to feel happy before they change their body language. They wait for a reason to smile. But your brain works in reverse. You have to change the signal first, the emotion follows. Your physical action absolutely must precede your emotional state.
So that brings us perfectly to our second switch. Trick 2, name it to tame it. Now, you might be wondering, what if you soften your face, but your mind is still racing with anxiety, constantly replaying problems or freaking out about the future? Well, your brain basically operates in 2 main modes, thinking mode and reacting mode. When your emotions spike, your brain automatically hijacks you into reaction mode. But here is your shortcut out of that. The very moment you feel stressed, anxious, or low, I want you to say a simple label out loud, or even just silently to yourself. Just say, I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling overwhelmed. Just name it. Do not overanalyze it. Do not try to fix it. Just label it. Because the moment you name the emotion, your brain literally shifts control from its emotional centers right back over to its logical centers. Think of it like this. When you're in reaction mode, it's like a massive storm is happening, and you are standing outside getting completely soaked. You literally are the storm. But the instant you label it, you shift into observation mode. Now you're watching that exact same storm, but you are safely inside a house, just looking out the window. It's the same storm, sure, but a completely different experience. The reason this works so incredibly fast comes down to simple biology. It turns out your brain is actually terrible at multitasking when it comes to panic. It simply cannot fully freak out and logically label something at the exact same time.
The sheer act of labeling interrupts the panic loop. You don't need to try and calm down. You don't need to invent some complex solution to all your life's problems in that moment. You literally just need one sentence to interrupt the cycle. Now, just imagine combining this with the first trick. Your face says, "I'm safe," while your mind says, "I see what's happening." That is incredibly powerful.
Now for the one we've all been waiting for. Trick 3, the micro-win.
Remember that tease at the very beginning of this explainer? Well, this third trick does something entirely different. It actually triggers your happiness chemicals on demand. See, most people chase happiness completely the wrong way. They wait for good news or they wait for their life circumstances to dramatically improve. But your brain doesn't actually release its primary happiness chemical, dopamine, after a massive success. It releases dopamine during progress. A micro-win is simply a tiny action completed in under 15 seconds that literally forces your brain to detect progress.
If you miss this, you are missing the fastest happiness trigger your brain has. Let's look at a few examples of 15-second micro-wins. Right now, wherever you are listening to this, straighten your posture. Or take one deliberately slow breath. Take a quick sip of water. Or just check off one tiny task on your desk. Just do one of them right now. By doing that, your brain just detected progress. And progress equals dopamine. That dopamine doesn't just make you feel good, it chemically increases your motivation, your focus, and your optimism instantly.
This is exactly why starting is always the hardest part of any task. Once you start, your brain helps you continue by feeding you that dopamine. But again, people wait to feel motivated before acting. Actually, scratch that. Waiting to feel motivated is completely backwards. The truth is, action comes first and motivation follows. This trick is a total superpower because it works anywhere, anytime. Bad mood? Micro-win. Low energy? Micro-win. Feeling stuck? Micro-win. You don't need massive life changes. You just need a tiny bit of movement. Let's move on and see how this all builds together. The total system reset. We've looked at all three switches in isolation. Now imagine combining them when you're having a genuinely rough moment. Instead of spiraling down, you take control. You just execute this exact sequence. Step 1. Soften your face, raise those eyebrows, and relax the jaw to signal physical safety. Step 2. Name the emotion out loud, to shift from the emotional brain to the logical brain. And step 3, execute one tiny action, like taking a sip of water, to trigger a dopamine release. In under a minute, your entire nervous system shifts. Your life didn't suddenly change, but your brain chemistry just did. That is what real control looks like.
And the absolute beauty of this is that the more you use these tricks, the faster your brain responds to them. These are not long, arduous habits you have to build over months and months. They are switches you can flip right now. And that brings us to the most empowering takeaway from all this research. Happiness isn't always something you have to go out and find in the world. It's something you activate inside yourself. Your brain already has everything it needs to feel better.
You now know how to signal safety in seconds. You know how to stop an emotional spiral instantly. And you know how to trigger happiness chemicals on demand. You can take complete control of your mood in 15 seconds or less. No waiting, no forcing, just simple brain science working for you. So I'll leave you with this question. If happiness is just a switch, what's stopping you from flipping it right now? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. And the next time you feel off, you'll know exactly what to do.